Welcome to the 2024 Del Webb Sweetgrass Homeowners Association Annual Meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Kathy?
Yes, we do. And the next slide will indicate that.
We do have a quorum, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, quorum is 20%, both in present and in proxy.
Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. I'm going to ask for the approval of the 2023 annual meeting minutes. The next slide will show you those minutes. I'm asking for approval of the 2023 minutes.
I make a motion that we approve.
A second.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Aye. Okay. The minutes of 2023 have been presented and are approved. Okay, welcome. And let me have some introductions to some of the people that will be at this meeting from the board. Next slide, please. Next, please. That's me. I'm Bruce Gilman. I'm the board president. I'm the spokesperson for the association and the board. I preside over meetings. I establish board meeting agendas, and I serve as liaison and the main point of contact for the management team. I also sign contracts and association documents, and I set the association goals, of course, with the entire board, and I appoint committees and liaisons. Next slide, please. I'm helped very much by Dan, who unfortunately can't be with us today. Dan Nath is the board vice president. Very important role. He supports me in standing up for me when I'm not there, maintains order during meetings, and he's well versed in the bylaws and serves as a real helping hand to myself and the board. Next, please. Larry, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, that's me. And I oversee all associations' finances, review the association's financial records on a monthly basis, assist with coordinating and preparing the association yearly budget. We make recommendations on large purchases and reserve projects, ensure that the financial matters, audits, records, and are all in compliance with bylaws and governing documents. And I also serve as the liaison to the Finance Committee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Windsor, the board secretary, and the most important responsibilities are maintaining all of our notes on our projects that are new topics, in progress topics, and completed topics for our board workshops, minutes for each of our meetings. And then most important other function is serving as liaison to the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, which serves our neighborhood in a big way.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Troublefield, and I am the Director at Large. The Director at Large is an officer whose duties and responsibilities are not fixed, but instead they vary according to the needs of the association and as directed by the board president. Responsible to act and vote in the best interest of the association, and responsible for the wide scope of knowledge about the events and projects that are happening in our community. I also serve as the liaison for the Health and Wellness Committee.
Hey, everybody.
I'd like to introduce CCMC, and Kelly, would you please?
Yeah, so I'm Kelly Riley Salyers. I'm your community manager. Hopefully I've met most of you, and if not, I hope you'll stop by the lake house and introduce yourself. I'm going to introduce the various CCMC team members. I'm sure you're going to see a number of new faces on the screen today. First, we have Laura Chase, who is our new lifestyle director. We're very excited to have her. Laura started this week. If you look up in the window, you'll see that she's currently sitting with Gabriel, who is our interim lifestyle director, and he's on site with us right now to help get Laura all set up and onboarded. We also have Gail Fishkin-Ogle, who is our interim operations manager. Rick Bridegram, which hopefully everyone knows, our community standards director. Go ahead. And then the rest of the team, equally important, Sandra Tina Harrow, our administrator. Margaret Epps, Barb All, Maritza Lugo, and Judy Turpey, all a part of our front desk team. And then Charles, Jaime, and Paula, are part of our maintenance team. And then I want to point out there, you see a spot that says coming soon. And we do have our new communications coordinator who will be joining us on February 10th is her first day. We're very excited to have her as well. Her name is Ember Gramillion, and she's relocating from Louisiana to join us here at Sweetgrass. And so we're very excited to introduce both Laura and Emma to the team. I hope you guys will stop by on February 12th between 1 and 3 o'clock. Laura will be having her first kind of little event with us, a pop-up event taking place in the lobby of the Lake House, and just kind of an opportunity for her to get to meet some of you, introduce, shake a few hands, pass out a few goodies, and have her first kind of pop-up event at the community. So please stop by February 12th, 1 to 3, and introduce yourself to Laura. Besides the on-site team, there are really a whole slew of people who work for CCMC who support the team. These are the folks that are assigned to work with our community. I'm not going to read through the entire list. I'm sure you guys can scan through it. But the ones that we probably rely on the most would be Andrea Joseph, who's our community accountant, Vanessa Figueroa, who's our accounts payable, and Nicholas Gonzalez, who helps us with collections. And then, of course, our CEO team, we have our President CEO, David Atrostic, Dolores Ferguson, who's Chief Customer Officer, and Stacy Miller, who is our Chief Financial Officer. A little bit about CCMC. We currently manage 143 communities across the country. We specialize in large-scale communities, so we don't typically manage smaller communities or portfolio communities. We specialize in communities that are Del Webb Sweetgrass size and larger. Also those communities that have a heavy influence by lifestyle. Communities who are really interested in having strong lifestyle programs are the communities that we like to partner with. And so it makes Sweetgrass an excellent partner and a good fit for our management team. And hopefully we're a good fit for you guys as well. We operate in 9 states. The majority of our communities are in the Southwest, and we currently comprise over about 1,000 employees coast to coast. That's going to bring us to our first drawing of the day. I hope everyone's excited about drawings. We did have over 450 people turn their proxies in on time to be participating in the drawings. So you won't be able to read the individual names until you can see them on the screen, but I'm going to pass it over to Gabriel, who's going to spin the wheel for us. Gabe?
All right, I'm ready to go ahead and spin this wheel and see who gets this wonderful prize. So let's go ahead and have that go. We're almost there. All right, congratulations. Congratulations. You will have a wonderful barbecue.
Guider Court, nice.
That's
Want a
right.
barbecue?
And that has been donated by Uline.
Thanks, Uline. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to turn it back over. I believe, Bruce, you're going to give us some information about the role of the board.
Sure. You all probably have seen many of us around, and we just reintroduced ourselves, but we are the board of directors. You have elected us, and we have elections just about every year now. We have an opportunity for other people to participate in managing the community. Not so much in managing it, but our main function is to see that the value of your homes and your estate here is maintained and protected. That's the ultimate value. That's the ultimate role of this board. Now, how is that done? That's done by operating the association, maintaining the common grounds, enforcing the governing documents. Next slide, please.
Also have neighborhood committees within the organization, and the neighborhood reps in your individual neighborhoods are welcoming new residents to the neighborhood. It's important to help them know the functions that they need to take care of at the office, for you to collect their address, their phone, their email, those kinds of things for your individual directories within your neighborhood, as well as encouraging them to join the resident directory as a whole. so that you can invite them to the various functions that your neighborhoods carry out. The Neighborhood Rep Committee is a board-appointed committee that's a liaison between the residents of the neighborhood and the board to help carry out the board functions in the neighborhood with more contact with 18 neighborhoods than 5 board members could carry out. You've been doing that very well recently with generating the HOPA surveys that needed to come in still from your neighborhoods. The neighborhood reps conduct a quarterly meeting, whether it's a standalone meeting or whether it's within one of the events that your social committee might plan. And they keep us informed of any maintenance or other concerns and needs in your neighborhoods. They can help advise you. You may turn to them if you have individual needs in your neighborhood, and they can point you accordingly, whether that's to go to maintain X and enter your maintenance need or what the individual need might be. And we'd love for you to have 3 reps in your neighborhood, if your neighborhood can generate that number, to assure that you always have at least one at the table to voice your concerns at quarterly neighborhood advisory council meetings.
Jim, did you want to take this one, or I can?
Yeah, absolutely. The role of owners and residents. As a member of the community, you are responsible for attending your annual meetings, staying informed about the rules, updates, and decisions that affect the HOA. This includes reading newsletters, emails, notices, and other official communications sent by the HOA. Attending board meetings, either in person or by watching online. Providing your constructive feedback. Adhering to the CCR's regulations, guidelines, policies, and rules set by the government documents. Paying assessments in a timely manner and getting involved and making a difference.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll jump in with the role of the management team. So the management team would include myself and those staff members you see working in the office area or out in the community of Sweetgrass. We have a number of responsibilities. So we oversee the day-to-day operations of the community, which includes your invoice processing, making sure that your vendors and bills are paid, your utilities, insurance, working with your vendors, enforcing your governing documents. So it is our job to go around and do the inspections and make sure that you guys are abiding by the deed restrictions and rules that have been established for your neighborhood. Processing the modification applications, you want to change your home. We take care of your financial reporting. We do the preparations on your annual budget and turn those over to the board for them to fine tune and approve. We are responsible for making sure common area and amenities are maintained. We do lifestyle event planning and support. We are responsible for the communication that goes to the community, which involves websites, social media, e-blasts, posters in the lobby, Sweetgrass TV, any communication piece you see going out. And it's our job to carry out the instructions and policies of the board of directors. So we work at the pleasure of the board, for lack of a better expression. So I do want to talk a little bit about the difference between board and management team. This is a question that comes up a lot. A lot of people don't quite understand the difference between a board member and a management team member. And so it's really important here to kind of highlight what some of those different functions are. So when we talk about board of directors and management team members, the board of directors are the ones that govern the community. The management team is the one that manages the community. So when you think of it, and Dan had a great way of saying this the other day, when you think about it, you think of myself as the community manager. I'm kind of like the city manager. And your board of director is kind of like your city council, right? So you have the city council or the board who makes the decisions, passes that information along to the city manager, and the city manager is responsible for carrying it out. So the board doesn't actually carry out or handle the day-to-day operations. They turn that over to the team. The board is made up of resident volunteers that are elected to serve on your board for you. But the management team is under contract to work as an agent of the association. The team and I are all employees of CCMC who's been contracted to do this work for you. So we are paid employees. We are not volunteers the way that a board member is, and a board member is not paid. So the board is the one that approves the budget. They set the operating procedures and they shape the direction of the association, but they don't carry out the day-to-day operations. On the other hand, the team is the one that handles the day-to-day operations, turn the reports over to the board, and then does the day-to-day work like paying invoice, preparing financials, taking care of maintenance, doing site visits, organizing events, putting out communication. The board is the one that sets the policies and rules for the association. Now, whether that's the existing board or the previous board or even the developer board, they put all of these rules and policies in place for your HOA. The management team does not set policies or rules. Our job is to enforce them. So once those policies and rules are in place by a board of directors and approved and they're on the books, it's our job to carry out those policies and rules. But we don't have the authority to go out and just decide to put some new rules out at your pool area. That the board would have to vote on that. The board is the one that's responsible to make critical decisions for the association and major purchases and projects. So I myself and some of the team members have some flexibility and authority to solve problems as they pop up. Obviously, we can't ask the board every time something, a light bulb comes out, hey, you want us to change this light bulb? No, of course not. Things happen and my team is responsible for taking care of them. And we do have some authority, depending on team members, to solve problems. But we don't make critical decisions on behalf of the HOA, and we do not approve large projects or purchases on behalf of the HOA. That must run through the board to get those approvals. And then lastly, the board has a fiduciary duty to make the choices that are in the best interest of the association as a whole. They may live in a certain section, they may be members of certain clubs, but when they make decisions, they have to do so in everyone's best interest. That's a fiduciary responsibility that they have. Well, on the other hand, my team and we have a responsibility to exercise good trust and good judgment on behalf of the HOA. It's our job to proactively guide and advise the board on some of the decisions they might be making, to look out and see whether those decisions are legal or not legal. Do they align with your governing documents? But at the end of the day, we don't have the same kind of fiduciary responsibility that a board member has when making decisions on behalf of the community. So I hope that clarifies that a little bit. It's always a question I get a lot, and I think this slide is very important during the meeting to kind of highlight some of those big differences. So now we're going to spin again, and this time we're spinning for a Bog Beach bag.
Yes.
Donated by Uline. Thank you again.
Gabe, you're up.
Yep, I'm on it.
Okay.
There we go. All right, here we go, everyone. We're going to see who's going to be the winner of this amazing bag. I had never heard of this bag until I was educated about it, and I was told it's awesome. So if you win this, you're in for something good. So here we go. All right, congratulations to 402 Saffron Plum Lane. You have won that wonderful bag, so make sure you come by and receive your prize. All right, we're on to the next slide.
I'm going to turn it back over to Bruce for the board update.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, some of the things that we've been doing recently, and the first one is something that everybody will appreciate. Not right now where we've had a lot of rain, but this summer or last summer, as you may recall, we were in a severe drought and we had all kinds of difficulty getting water. Well, right now we're in a temporary agreement with the city of Richmond for gray water irrigation, which will allow us to fill the lake up and permit us to irrigate responsibly, but much more thoroughly than we were doing last year because of the severe drought. We also approved several reserve projects, including repairs to the bocce ball court, new surfaces on the pickleball and tennis courts, and we had to continue to downsize and refurbish the landscaping beds because of the conditions of the environment in this particular part of the country. The sustainable landscaping has got to be modified as we move along. And we've done repainting of the bridge, lake, and all the pool metal fencing. We were fortunate enough to renew several expiring CDs at a higher interest rate. And we approved several capital improvements and upgrades, including the addition of a new putting green and enhancements to the pickleball court. And we selected a new insurance broker and a new insurance provider. And most importantly, a great deal of effort, and it was very visible to everybody, and members of the board participated to a large extent, especially Larry and Dan. and well, everybody, Jim, Kathy, and myself, approval and the oversight of the recovery measures following Hurricane Beryl, including damage assessment, contractor coordination, and communication updates to the community. And the community management company, CCMC, was very, very important in assisting us in getting contractors to start providing this assistance. Also, we adopted and amended some policies and rules in 2024. We approved an updated Lake House policy and procedures document. We approved an updated chartered club manual, and we participated in the presentations of this to the club presidents. We approved the addition of personal home security cameras using a streamlined form. Many of us have these cameras, and this way we can install them using a very simplified form for the ARC to approve it. We have guest wristband rules for pool access during the summer. We approved rules for the open forum at board meetings, and we approved an election guide for neighborhood committees. All of this is available on mysweetgrass.net, by the way, and this document that we're portraying right now or presenting right now will also be available. Okay, board update. Board appointed committees. What is a committee? Board appointed committees help fulfill essential roles within the community. They're formed by the board to help ensure the association reaches its goals effectively and efficiently, and with the participation of the homeowners. They're a good way to get the homeowners participating, and we are anxiously awaiting more people to participate in that. We have some openings in some of the committees, and applications are always available, and they're reviewed periodically. And as people fade from the committee and move on to another committee, there are always openings. Some of the updates: the charter for the finance committee was updated in 2024. The Health and Wellness Committee was updated also in 2024. The ARC committee bylaws the charter was updated in 2024. And the Mardi Gras subcommittee was dissolved in 2024. The board thanks all the people who served on this committee over the years. The Mardi Gras will now be planned by the social committee. One of the board-appointed committees is the ARC committee, Architecture Review Committee. Steve Williams is the chairperson, Rick Steffen, Tracy Space, Sue Myrtle, and Elena Miller are on this committee. And as you well know, many of you have improved your home and have gone through the submission of ARC documents for approval. And you'll find that the homeowners on this committee are very understanding and knowledgeable, and they are a great source just in general for information on modifying your homes. Larry?
Yeah, the Finance Committee, we have Bob, Gerald, better known as Jerry, Ray, and Janet. Finance Committee is responsible for reviewing the association's monthly financial statements as well as the annual audit. They provide input for preparation of the annual budget and reserves. They also assist the board in making financial related recommendations and other financial matters. And I tell Kelly, they're just like walking into a bunch of CPAs at doing their best.
They do a great job. Actually, all our committees do.
All right, the social committee. A wonderful, wonderful group of dedicated residents who want to bring the fun to the community. And so we have the chairperson, Carolyn. We have a lot of our team members that are part for this, and we have Marcy, we have Rana, we have Diane, Sue, Edna, Susan, and Suzanne and Nancy. The social committee helps to provide leadership input, recommendations, and logistic support for community events and activities hosted by the Del Webb Sweetgrass Homeowners Association, which would be us. They also assist in planning the HOA's yearly event calendar and work to partner with local and area businesses to help secure sponsorships for the events. And I tell you, I've sat in on meetings with this wonderful group of individuals, and I tell you, their dedication and their thirst for creativity for everyone to be able to enjoy. I tell you, it's been such a joy to be a part of this group. So thank you, ladies, for being a part of what makes our community fantastic.
The Health and Wellness Committee. Our chairperson is Frank Rodriguez, and we have Martha Castile and Sherry Terrio. The Health and Wellness Committee reviews, evaluates, and develops recommendations for health and wellness policies, programs, and processes that will be of value to the mental and physical well-being of the community's residents, while also providing motivation for resident participation. They partner with local professionals to help suitable wellness programs and obtain sponsorship for these activities. And we'll have more about that a little bit later.
Jim, did you want to talk about the safety committee or?
Sure, yeah. And I did talk to Dan, and Dan wanted me to give a special shout out to the safety committee. That Jay is the chairperson with Paul, Mary Ellen, and Leanne. The safety committee acts on the advisory body to the board of directors regarding security and safety matters. They also liaison with local agencies regarding local and state sponsored safety programs, and that to develop and provide safety guidelines for the HOA to help develop new opportunities to advance security and safety measures within the community.
Thank you.
You all probably know who your neighborhood representatives are. More recently, Margie Fougeron, the chair of Valley Oaks, has applied and been appointed to be chairperson of the group as a whole. The neighborhood committee is a group that worked together to really aid in communication down to you, and you've all worked with them recently as we've generated the HOPA survey that we're going to share results of with you in a later slide. We appreciate all the effort that that committee puts forth, as well as those of you in the neighborhood that they tap to assist them in endeavors beyond what 3 individuals can do.
Thank you. Thank all of our committee volunteers. And as I say, there's always openings. If you're interested in participating, please come forward and fill out a general application at the front desk or by email. And when an opening occurs, we'll be sure to consider you.
All right, we've got another opportunity for some good prizes here. So we have $75 worth in gift cards for Texas Roadhouse, so you can have a delicious meal on us. And this has been donated by CCMC. So let's go ahead and spin that wheel and see who our new winner is going to be. All right, congratulations, whoever lives at 511 Miss Flower Drive. Make sure you stop on by and pick up your prize. Okay.
Next up is a financial recap, and our VP of Finance, Larry, will give us an update on what's going on.
We met yesterday with the finance committee, and we being Kelly and I, and we went through some numbers, and the operating balance at the end of December 31st was $581,325. These funds are split between 4 accounts, including money markets and CDs, to earn interest and to remain FDIC insured. Reserve balance as of yesterday or for December 31st, $1,135,500. These funds are split up in 7 accounts. They include the ICS, money markets, CDs, and they also are earning and remain under FDIC insured limits. You'll notice that there's a block there with red around it. As per our 2022 reserve study, our target reserve balance at the end of 2024, $1,173,154. This means the association's reserve account is funded at 96.8% of all the recommended amount outlined in the study. And that's, I just can't say how great that number is. And I'll go on to tell you, A well-prepared HOA should have a reserve fund balance that is at least 70%, according to the reserve study. The average national is 50 to 70%. Once again, ours is 96.8%. That's a good temperature. Okay, let's look at some summaries here. I'm going to go through them fast. I've gone over them with you before. Revenues for the year, budget was $3,238,315. The actual, we were a little over budget. We were $3,268,795. Transferred from operating to reserves, $135,034. 162 was, and $602 was what was budgeted for our actual. Administrative and lifestyle, $1,167,975 versus $196,248, and that's the actual. Contract repairs, parts, etc., $1,463,676,000. $1,463,676. We were at $1,524,000 for the year. Looking at utilities, $258,000 versus $278. Insurance, $109 versus $110. I always give Kelly credit when we come into the insurance because I've never seen it be that close, and she's done it every year. Taxes, $19,250 budgeted, $35,000 paid. Total operating expense, $3,019,490. Our actual, $3,145,348. Where did the dollar go? It's your dollar, so we're going to tell you where it went. For 2024, I'm going to do the annuals over there. You can see the quarterlies. Administrative and lifestyle, $777. Contracts, maintenance, repairs, and parts, $991. Utilities, $181. The insurance, $71. Taxes, $23. Reserve and capital improvement funding, $124. What are reserves? Association equipment and major components must be replaced. And we do it according to our reserve study, and collecting the entire amount when the project commences puts too much financial burden on residents. Instead, the HOAs collect smaller amounts over time, places those funds into what is known as a reserve account. The reserve funds are then put aside and used for large-scale replacement and repairs of existing amenities and assets in the association. Reserve funds meet legal, fiduciary, and other professional requirements. They help minimize the need for special assessments, and to date, they have eliminated borrowing. They enhance resale values. I'll repeat that again. They enhance resale values, and they are required to be disclosed by the AICPA in our financial documents. 2024 reserve projects. Repaint the lake house interior. It's completed. Reupholster, replace furniture, partially completed. Color coat sports courts, completed. Replace and repower coat outdoor pool patio tables, completed. Landscape replacement as needed, completed. Hurricane burl repairs, it's currently in progress. Surveillance cameras, we had to postpone those. Renovate, repaint office areas, postponed. Repair, repaint lake house siding and trim, postponed. New carpet in ballroom, north hallway, classrooms, and library, postponed. Now, it says these expenditures may also include reserve projects that were previously deferred from projects. So when you see something postponed, It doesn't mean that it's going away. It just means that the money, we decided to use it on something, and right now the focus is on damages caused by borough. Upcoming reserve projects for 2025, according to the reserve study. New carpet in the ballroom, hallway, north hallway, classrooms, library. Repaint and repair the lake house siding and trim, renovate and repaint office areas, reupholster and replace furniture, the surveillance cameras, concrete driveways, parking areas, and sidewalks. As you notice, some of those were things that we postponed. The updated reserve study. Reserve study is a
Wait,
financial
Larry.
planning tool that the HOA is estimated the cost of maintaining, replacing major community assets, roofs, pools, clubhouse equipment, etc. It ensures that the HOA has funds available for future repairs and replacements. It also helps us to avoid problem areas. Why are they important? They help us to be financially stable. A lot of communities, I've worked with 2 other communities by invitation, and I can tell you, they just don't understand that the reserve is a key factor of what the association has. Projects, property values are allowing for timely repairs and property maintenance and the common areas. Prevents financial surprises by planning ahead for those large expenses. Why are we updating the reserve study in 2025? The reserve study that we currently have in place is about 3 years old, and an updated study will ensure us that we're accurate current data on our community as it ages. It reflects on the changes in costs due to inflation, materials, and labor. It also includes new assets or major repairs completed since the last study was done. And it's something that we look at. Finance Committee looks at it every month and does a study evaluation. How does it benefit the homeowners? The study helps to guide the board in setting assessments responsibly. It also ensures financial stability. It protects property values by maintaining the community's appearance and infrastructures. It reduces the likelihood of unexpected special assessments, and it provides to each and every one of us a peace of mind. Capital improvements. What's a capital improvement? A capital improvement is a structural addition or alteration that increases the overall value of the property. It can also increase the useful life of a property by improving its quality or strength. Capital improvements can also adapt a property to new rules or usages through upgrades or modifications. In an association such as ours, common area capital improvement projects help increase the property values of home within the community, as well as enhancing homeowners' quality of life. Even as the community ages, having a capital improvement program allows an association to improve their facilities and attract new buyers. 2024 capital improvement projects. Addition to the putting green on the south side of the lake house near the bocce ball courts. If you haven't been out to use them, I recommend you go out and try them. You're probably a lot better than I was when I tried. In addition to the storage building, we wanted to have a storage building garage maintenance workshop area on the north side of the lake house to replace the green cage. We've looked at it. We postponed it also until further notice. There's a little more work to be done, and we want to make sure we're using the best value of our money. Upcoming capital improvement projects, once again, it's that storage building garage maintenance. Folks, we've had that green cage out there since I've been here, and we store our stuff outside. We have stuff in storage buildings, and we also have to do part of the office to do workshop projects. It's something that will enhance the property. It will also make the property the longevity of working on several projects and the equipment involved. And it's probably something that we'll be looking at strongly in 2025.
All right. Well, there's no time like this time than to have a good spin the wheel session. And so for this prize, we will have a foldable utility wagon donated by Uline. So let's go ahead and get to our spinning graphic here, and let's see who our next winner will be. All right, we're almost there, getting right in there. Settled. All right. Congratulations to the resident at 306 Ranch House Lane. Make sure you stop on by so you can receive your prize. All right, we're going to move on to the next section, management updates.
Go ahead. Thank you. So I'm going to jump in and give the management update on behalf of the association. So a lot of changes and things occurred in 2024, as I'm sure we all knew. We introduced 2 new team members, but we also welcomed the return of 1 former team member, and that would be Maritza and Jaime as our new team members, and Judy as our return. We completed the outdoor pool refurbishment project. So much has happened since then, it's hard to believe that took place in 2024, but it did. That was about a year ago at this time that project was kind of at its peak, and we really wrapped it up about a year ago, February or so. We did refurbish all the outdoor sport courts, which include tennis, pickleball, and bocce. We added the putting green, like Larry said earlier. We had a claim, an insurance claim for a damaged street light over near the nature park, which was damaged by a driver kind of coming through the neighborhood. Last Thanksgiving, we had a claim for damages caused by Hurricane Beryl. We launched an entirely new website last summer. We selected a new pool service provider. Sweetwater Pools took over for our previous one. We also selected a new HVAC service provider, which is TD Industries. And we signed a new service agreement for regular inspections of the fitness equipment that we have through Technogym. In addition to those, we every year complete a large number of maintenance projects around the community. Again, I will not list them all. You'll see in a few slides how many we actually closed as far as tickets are concerned. I just like to list a few of the larger ones in the slideshow. You guys can read through most of those. I'll just call out a couple of them as we go through. One of the bigger ones that we did was we removed the concrete fencing panels at the pump station. For those of you that aren't aware, the pump station is in the back part of the community under the power line easement, kind of close to the Sweetgrass Circle, Sweetgrass Drive exit that goes to Veranda. Those where our pumps are, and we had concrete fencing panels around it, and we elected to remove those panels and replace them with composite fencing. And the reason we did that was so that we could salvage those panels and use them to complete repairs on other concrete fences around the community. Those panels are no longer manufactured, and so this was a clever way for us to be able to make repairs without having to replace all of our fencing at once. All those panels are now in storage so that they can be used when other concrete fencing panels break. We had, of course, a repair at the entry waterfall not that long ago, repairs to mailbox lights. We had a new irrigation pump installed, repaired to sidewalks, removed some dead plants. We did the pocket park over in Big Cypress. Gabe, you can keep going. We did, again, of course, the decking surface of the pool. We had some clogs in our drains at the outdoor pool. We added a new ADA button to the fitness center door. That was a great addition. We got a new copy machine, some new signs out of the pools because Fort Bend County said we needed some different signage out there. New benches added to the putting green area and the bocce area, which really makes them a lot more useful and places for people to sit down. We added some more locks to different cabinets so we could start using those for storage. We added non-slip surfacing to the outdoor pool restrooms. Unfortunately, they weren't a hit. We still find them to be a little too slippery, so we're looking at other options, but something we tried. A new TV in the aerobic center, new lights out at the outdoor pool on those steps, all those lights had burned out. Go ahead. We did the kitchen tile in the kitchen area. You may not be aware of that. We also put a new refrigerator, a new commercial fridge in the fridge area. The last one burned out. We put new tabletops on the tables in the activity center, which make them usable both as round tables and square. We added some new trees to the dog park. Of course, we did some work on the nature park. And what's unique about the nature park is the landscaping, like the plants and trees. They're donated generously by the garden club. And then the labor for that work that the garden club donates to us is actually donated by Earth Care. So they don't charge us when the garden club donates the plants. They don't charge us to go in and install those for us. So, and then we did some repairs to sidewalks and stone walls around the community. So if you look at this slideshow later on, you can read through the full list, but there is a lot that gets done in a year's time. And I believe that Jim was going to kind of run down through the slideshow or the slide for the hurricane barrel we're covering, kind of where we're at with the different projects.
Sure. So as everyone knows, we had damage to the streetlights there on Doa Boulevard, and the replacement's been completed. We also had minor intrusion in the great room there in the clubhouse, and that has been taken care of as well. We had damage to the boat docks. That's been completed. Damage to the shade awnings over the bocce ball courts, completed. Damage to the fencing and windscreens in the pickleball courts. Those repairs have been completed. And we had trash and debris everywhere, as most of you know. The delay was trying to just get a dumpster. Everyone wanted a dumpster in times of a hurricane, but we finally got it, and that's all been completed as well. You can go through this list pretty much on your own. I'm told, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's probably 10 to 14 working days left before the roof will be completed. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the roofing material, the new, I guess, metal panels or shingles, whatever you call those, they are expected to be delivered to us on Monday. And as long as the weather is appropriate for them to get up there and work on a roof, they will begin right away. And once they start, it's less than 2 weeks to completion.
Great. The fencing has been completed along the Cigarro Way, and that's where most of the hogs were getting in during that time. That has all been fenced off, and partially on Dandelion. They have resumed work here about a week ago, and weather permitting, they will keep working until it's done. I would say probably 40% of the fence has been replaced as we speak now, and the rest is, as I say, ongoing. And the rest, I'm not going to read the entire list, but the damage to the roof over the pool area, as we said, is still in progress.
Great.
Okay. So I'll jump back in. And so we were talking about, how much work gets done around a community on an annual basis. And so just kind of a fun trivia question. I'll give everyone a second to think about it. But in 2024, how many work orders did the maintenance team complete? This does not include vendors. This is work done by the on-site maintenance team. So
the answer is
2,941 work orders, which is honestly, guys, a lot of work orders. It's an average of 245 work orders per month. And keep in mind that we have 3 team members on site that were the ones that took care of those nearly 3,000 work orders last year. So. And if you have a maintenance request, please don't forget, it's very easy to turn it in right there on the homepage. I took a screenshot, put it right here on the slide. It's just a big giant button that says maintenance request. You just click it. It's going to ask you a few questions about what you believe needs to be maintained. You submit it. It's going to go straight to the team. It's going to be assigned to someone. And then when it's done, you're going to get a response back letting you know that your ticket is now completed. So please, that's the best way to get those tickets turned in, is you just go in to the website, turn them in right away. It's the fastest way. Don't try to email someone works in the maintenance department. It's just, this is the way, because it's going to be assigned to the person we know is best equipped to handle the job, who's maybe coming into work the next day and can tackle it, stuff like that. So please use the website to turn in your maintenance request. And
Kelly, the board gets a review of those on a weekly basis.
Yes,
on
a weekly
to us.
Yep, weekly and monthly. So the board gets a weekly update of all the current maintenance tickets, as well as a monthly one of what was completed the month prior. So, yeah.
Okay. HOPA survey update. You're going to want to shout 3 cheers, because you won't be hearing this word much anymore. Under the United States Fair Housing Amendment Act in '88 and the Housing for Older Persons Act of '95, At least 80% of all homes in a 55+ community must be occupied by a person 55 years or age or older to age discriminate. So of course they make that as difficult as possible for us because the government doesn't favor restriction in housing. So each 2 years, and 2024 was one of those 2 years, we had to have all those signatures all over again on a form with that date on it that the government had issued that particular year. So many of you say, I'm not getting younger. Can't you just use those forms for the prior year? And we're now 2 years older than we were last year, and we wish we could do that. But that's why we've had this painful process this year. But I have to thank all of you so much. After just the efforts of the breeze, we were at 60% when we went to the neighborhood reps and said, we need your help to get beyond 80 for the cushion we need. And as you look at the very bottom, as yesterday, I believe it's 85.7. We've had some surveys come in today, and we're probably beyond that as I speak. But you'll see congratulations to Greyhawk Cove, Valley Oaks, Rolling Ridge, Shearwater, and Escarpment Ridge that achieved 100% submission of their HOPA forms. And you'll notice those are both small neighborhoods and large neighborhoods. And I have to tell you, we have 3 neighborhoods that probably will get there by February 7th, at least 3. Next Friday, any neighborhood that has reached 100% completion rate will have the dessert for their next quarterly meeting paid for by the HOA. And Whisper Springs needs 1 survey. Windmill Glen needs 2. And River Point needs 3. So I expect those 3 might be able to accomplish that before next Friday. But we also have only 3 that are at 75% to 80%. There are 10 that are between that 80 and 99. So maybe we'll have another push. And then, of course, the 5 that have already gotten to 100. But this is incredible, folks, that our lowest percentage in a neighborhood is 75 when we were at 60 through the breeze. You as neighbors, whether you're the rep or just someone who lived next door to someone who had a survey out, have just been incredible at getting that type of response in the neighborhood. And it shows how much being a neighborhood that is over 55 means to you and why you chose to be here in Del Webb. So we've learned about everyone engaging and responding, and we're going to have some other upcoming things that we, again, need that full neighborhood participation on. And we've now learned how to get it done.
Meg, Kathy.
Okay, well, that sounds like an even bigger reason to celebrate. So as you see there, we have another prize, which is a pair of Yeti cups. And if you're like me, Yetis are the best things to sip out of. So I tell you that much. Let me go ahead and get us on over to our spinning wheel here. And let's see who our next winner will be. All right, it's going round and round. When will you stop? Let's see it. Bingo, there we go. So congratulations to persons who live at 3810 County Seat Lane. So congratulations to you, and we'll get back to our presentation.
All right, so that brings us to the start of the annual meeting where we kind of talk about what's on the radar for 2025. So some of the things that we've got planned for 2025, of course, Larry mentioned earlier, update the community's reserve study. And again, that's when the expert engineer comes out, evaluates all of the community's assets and amenities, looks at their current condition, how long they're going to last, how much cost to replace them, and gets that taken care of. So we're going to do that probably within the end of the first quarter. We're going to finalize the plan, hopefully through access system, surveillance system cameras. We want to try to integrate those two, and that's been on our radar for a little while. We want to get that finalized. We want to finalize the agreement with the city of Richmond for gray water access. Like Bruce mentioned earlier, we have a temporary agreement, but we really want to get something, locked in for a much longer period of time. We'll be doing our annual community survey soon. That will be coming out in February. So please make sure that you take part in that. We're going to continue to work with the county, the city, the MUD on solutions for easing the traffic and speeding concerns through the neighborhood. We know we have an issue with speeders and people that don't stop at stop signs all the way. And we want to make sure that the neighborhood is a safe place for drivers and pedestrians. We're going to keep working with them. We're looking at restructuring the fitness class program to make better use of the available fitness class budget. We're going to continue to monitoring those neighboring real estate developments and how they're going to affect Sweetgrass and the quality of life here. That includes the Williams Ranch Business Park, where they talked about doing an 18-wheeler truck a couple of years ago. We kind of got that closed down. But we still have Circle Oak Retail Development, which is that large piece of land right next to HEB. And we have a commercial development area in front of Veranda that we want to keep our eyes on to see how that's going to affect the community as well. And coordinate involvement with reps and homeowners if we need to, depending on what we learn. We're going to be introducing an operations manager to replace our previous maintenance director position. And Gabe, if you'll flip to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about that. So what's the difference between an operations manager and a maintenance director? So the operations manager role really focuses more on managing processes, people, overall organization. It works at a much higher level of oversight than a maintenance director. An operations manager is responsible for day-to-day operations of the community. They do ensure that maintenance is good, that vendor services is good, infrastructure projects run smoothly, but they really do more than that. So the difference really comes down to the scope of work. And so I've kind of listed out here what the difference in the two is. So a maintenance director's focus is really on the upkeep, repair, and preventative maintenance of community assets like your buildings, your landscape, your irrigation. They oversee the maintenance department and they deal with vendor contracts related specifically to repairs and compliance with safety and operational standards. It's a very technical and hands-on role. So the operations manager takes that to the next level. So in addition to all those things there, they have a broader role that also includes the maintenance oversight, but also community operations. So they may be involved in vendor management, planning of construction projects, recommended projects, contract negotiations, again, project management, putting together RFPs, and then making suggestions for process improvements around the community. So in short, the maintenance director is more specialized in maintenance tasks, while an operations manager takes a more strategic, high-level approach to the operation of the community by focusing on overall logistics. So it's an important role. I think it's one the community has probably needed for some time. And so we're going to be introducing that role in 2025 rather than bringing on a different maintenance director. So Gail is the one who's filling that role for us now, but we're looking at bringing on someone who will fill the role for us in a full-time capacity. As far as projects on the action list, so for 25 so far, again, we're going to continue to review and refurbish landscaping beds. We know we've had probably some loss after this hard freeze we had the other day. We're also going to continue to downsize beds, remove superfluous beds, adjust some of the landscaping that's in the beds to help keep the amount of water that we need for irrigation to a minimum. We want plants that are drought hardy, freeze hardy, that we're not having to replace quite so often. We need to tackle the beds that are along the FM 762 berm. That's been on our list for some time, and we believe 25 is the year to get that tackled. And so the beds that are there, it's kind of in front of Valley Oaks and in front of Lost Pines facing 762, those beds could use some refurbishment. We do want to try to add that storage building to the north side of the building so that our assets that are down there are not exposed to the elements all the time. They wear out a lot faster because they're constantly baking in the sun or getting rained on. They just don't last as long that way. And it would also allow us to no longer have to pay for offsite storage at a storage facility. Repairs to and pressure washing of common area sidewalks. We know there's some sidewalks that lift and shift at different times of the season, and some of them have cracked as a result. And so we want to get those repaired, and then we'll continue pressure washing once the weather allows us to do so. It's time to evaluate our large trees for trimming and also deep root fertilization as well. We want to tackle those granite paths that are around the lake house. We put that project on hold because it was kind of where Hurricane Beryl hit us and dropped all that debris. And so once all that area is finally completed as far as the roof project and everything, we want to go back to looking at the best way to improve those granite paths. And then complete any or defer, depending on the item at board direction, all those action items that you saw on the reserve list that Larry mentioned earlier. So depending on what the board decides to go forward with, because just because it's on the list, again, doesn't mean it's going to happen. It means the board considers it and decides if the time is right, if now is when it needs to be replaced. So depending on what the board decides, we'll complete or tackle those reserve action items. Again, I mentioned a minute ago the upcoming resident survey, but again, we're going to be bringing that back. It's going to take place in February, just like it did last year. This is your opportunity to provide valuable feedback on maintenance, communication, amenities, event programming. The goal is to better understand what your needs and preferences are so we can continue to make this a great place to live. We really want all residents to participate. The link to the survey will come out in an e-blast in February, so please be on the lookout and please make sure that you complete one. I'm going to turn it back to Gabe to spin the wheel for a $75 ActiveNet certificate.
All right, and this prize has been donated by DeWeb Sweetgrass. So let's go ahead and spin to see who gets this wonderful prize. All right, let's see, let's see. All right, well, we want to say congratulations to whom lives at 3523 Sapella Way. Go ahead and make sure you stop by the office to pick up your prize.
Actually, we'll just go ahead and add that credit to your account, and then you can start using it for events, tickets, fitness classes, whatever you might spend from ActiveNet.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Community standards, here we go.
We're going to turn this over to Rick now, who's going to give us our community standards update.
Yep, so for the community standards update, I want to start with what were some of the most common violations and inspections in the neighborhood last year. And so you can see the first one is damaged wrought iron fencing. Unfortunately, those are starting to deteriorate, and we addressed all the ones we could see from the street and the common areas. And then next is missing front yard trees. So you know that you do need approval to remove any tree, but this is specifically for the main front yard tree. That's going to be the Pulte oak trees that they put in. You do have to replace that. However, if you'd like a smaller tree, you can find those on the streamlined form. Uneven sidewalks, Kelly talked about those lifting and shifting. We sent letters for that. We want to make sure that those aren't trip hazards and make sure our neighbors aren't falling when they're walking in the community. Tree trimming, that was another complaint we received from the walkers. They weren't able to get under the trees, and so we sent letters for that, asking the homeowners to lift the canopies. Your neighbors should be able to walk under there without ducking or having to go off the sidewalks. Missing shrubs, that was an issue last year we addressed. It's an issue again this year. We'll address that probably again in the springtime. Political signs and flags, that was a fun one for about 3 or 4 months last year. We respect your right to put the political signs out. We just ask that you look at the political sign policy and make sure you're meeting the requirements. Pressure washing driveways and sidewalks, that's another one we addressed last year, and we've been sending notices out since July. I think we've sent 3 notices out. And in the breeze, that's not going very well. So we're going to start sending letters for that again, actually starting next week. So if you have a plan to take care of that, just reach out to me via email if you would. Next slide, please. All right, this is our violation section. If you look at the right side of the screen, you're going to see the total notices that went out were 475. Of those, 382 were courtesy reminders. 73 escalated to violation notices. Those violation notices, they do warn of potential fines if the issue is not resolved. And you can see that 19 of those went into fines. I can't stress enough, if you receive a letter and it also goes out email, just reach out to me. I'm happy to work with you on short-term extensions. Anything long-term would obviously have to go to the board. And then we had one self-help notice that's telling a homeowner that if something's not addressed, that we may send a contractor to the house to take care of it, and then all fees and fines would be assessed to their account. On the left-hand side, and sorry, go back, please. Yeah. The left side, the pie chart, if you look at the dark green there, this is going to show you what those violations were for in percentages. So landscaping was 26%. We talked about tree trimming there, and that's just your regular landscape maintenance. Architectural was 25%. That's homeowners not submitting their ARC applications. Unsightly letters, that's kind of a general letter. That was 20%. You'd get your power washing letters in that. 17% was signs, political signs, contractor signs, for sale signs that are not within the requirements. 3% were animals and pets. That's your barking dogs, maybe dogs off leash and feeding the wildlife in the community. which we ask, please do not feed the wildlife. It's not only restricted, but you're creating other issues in the community. So please do not feed the wildlife. And then 9% were just other miscellaneous letters at your fences, your vehicle parking, and some other miscellaneous things. Next slide, please. Okay, ARC applications. So if you look on the left side, you'll see the total applications were 347. I did just want to stop for a minute, because if you know that you submit an ARC application for one meeting, you can submit 1, 2, 3, 4 applications under the same $15 fee. And so when you do that, it still only registers here as one. So that 347 number would actually be much higher, but I'd have to manually go through each and every one and count those. So 347 applications, 128 of those were approved as is. 36 were approved with some type of condition. Maybe they had to change material or a size of something to get that approval. 4 applications were declined. They fortunately didn't meet the design guidelines. And then 179 streamlined approvals. I believe it was mentioned earlier about the security cameras were added to that form. And then hopefully we can add something else this year, hopefully. The bar graph on the right, you'll see the last 4 years, how many applications came in for ARC. And so for 2021, the large number on 2021, that was the year we had the bad freeze. So we had lots of landscaping that was needed replacing. We also got, it was well over 100 generator requests before and after that freeze, and also new homeowners coming in and making lots of changes. The years prior to that were not that big of a number. So it was just, that was an odd year. And then you can see the 3 that he's hovering over right now. I think they're staying in line now, and that's where I would expect it to be, unless of course we have another natural disaster. But that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, well, we are on to another Spin the Wheel segment, and this time we're going to have a $100 Visa gift card, and that is donated by Earth Care Management. So let's go ahead and get into this spin and see who is the winner. All right, so congratulations to the individuals that live at 3519 Anchor. Remove from our list here, and we will get back into our presentation to keep things moving forward. Uh-oh. Come on, let me back in. There we go. Here we go. There we go. All right, so. All right, it seems like I'm up next, and I'm going to provide you with a wonderful lifestyle update. So for our CCGA update, did you know Sweetgrass currently has 6 committees, and that's board appointed. We have 18 neighborhood committees, that's resident elected with board approval, 37 chartered clubs, as well 12 special interest groups, and 5 HOA activities that are informal. And so what is your CCGA? The CCGA stands for committees, charters, clubs, groups, and activities. And it's wonderful to see that that combination of our committees, charter clubs, groups, and activities all total to 78. That is amazing. That is constant engagement. And that is what we look for within our community and connecting one another together. Now, as we talk about lifestyle, we've got another trivia question for you. So I want you to go ahead and think about this before we get our answer placed on the screen. But our trivia question is, how many meetings or events occurred at the Lake House in 2024? I wish I had some music to go for you to try and think of that number in your head, but I can almost guarantee you, you will not guess it because it is this magnificent. Check this out. In 2024, we hosted 4,178 meetings, events, classes, activities, private reservations, etc. with an average meeting time of 2.25 hours. That's approximately 9,369 hours of lake house reservation space. So as you can see, we kept things moving and active in this community, and boy, was that wonderful for 2024.
So I'm going to jump in on the lake house room reservations real quick on behalf of the lifestyle team. So just a few reminders when it comes to lake house room reservations. I know reservations are always a hot topic. People are always looking for rooms. They need rooms for this or that. And so just to keep things moving smoothly and to keep us a transparent process around how these are done, just a few reminders. So first, we want to make sure that you're recurring, if you're a committee, club, group, or activity, your recurring lake house reservations are done annually. And really those should all be done by now. All the recurring meetings, the regular monthly meeting or quarterly meeting or weekly meeting that your club or group might have should already be in the system. And you should have already reviewed what was assigned to you and made sure it was okay and come up here and signed off on your confirmation form. If you haven't done that and you're in charge of a CCGA, please stop by the front desk, review what has been assigned to you for 2025 and make sure it's correct. But if you need additional reservation space, we do ask that you submit those requests at least 30 days in advance of the requested date. As you can see from the slide before, we get a lot of requests for room reservations here, and we need time to sort through them all and sometimes to work things out, or maybe something's on hold for someone and then they cancel or they give it back. So giving us 30 days advance notice helps to make that process easier for everyone who's involved. It makes it more likely that we can get that reservation approved because we can have sufficient staff on hand to handle the reservation when you need it. If we're only getting a day's notice, we can't really approve, a setup for 300 people one day ahead of time. So the 30 days in advance is what we ask for. That's what's actually in your governing documents. So please get your reservations submitted as far in advance as possible with a minimum of 30 days. We did launch a new online reservation form in 2025. So I know this is a little bit new. In the past, we always used a paper form. And so we're trying out an online reservation form this year. This form does have a calendar attached to it, which will make it a little easier for you to see if a room has already been reserved for someone else. So you can go to this calendar, look at your room, look at your date and time, and you can see if something else is already confirmed. But I do want to stress that it does not mean that you're getting an instant approval of your request. What you can see are the ones that are already been confirmed. But there are occasions when maybe multiple requests are still pending. They're being worked on between Sandra and whoever is the person asking for a room. And that's not going to reflect on the website just yet. Until it's confirmed completely, it may not show up. So go ahead and turn in your request and we'll review it and get back with you. But please understand that when you're turning in that online form, you're not booking that room for yourself. This is not like Expedia.com where you're booking a hotel room. You are still submitting a request to the office for someone to review, process, and approve. Due to high demand for lake house space, again, we can't always offer you your first choice of scheduled date and time. As you can see, we had 4,100 room requests last year. And so not everyone is going to get their first choice. But we are happy to try to work with you to find something that will work for you. So if you don't get your first choice, please be flexible. Reach out to us and then let us know what it is you're trying. I need it to be a Saturday, or I need it to be in June, or what kind of parameters you have so that we can try to find something that will fit you and your club. We do ask that if you need to make a change or a cancellation, that you give us at least 2 weeks notice so that we can adjust the calendar, so we can adjust our staff. We do schedule people to be here or not be here depending on how busy we are and how many reservations are in place. And so we will adjust that if we need to. And maybe we have someone who we know wanted that room and they didn't have it, couldn't get it because you had it. And if you let us know, we can release it and then let them have it. So please, if you know you're not coming, let us know. For anyone who has questions about the rental reservation policy, that document is on the website in the resources folder in the governing documents section. And Sandra Tina Harrow, our administrative assistant, has kindly volunteered to tackle the project of reservations moving forward. So it is going to become a part of her responsibility. So if you have questions regarding a room reservation, you're going to reach out to Sandra. But please make sure that you submit your room request through the website first. Don't email room requests to Sandra. We look at the website to see when the requests came in. We process them in order. We're not looking for those requests in an email. We're looking for them through the computer. So make sure you put it online. And once your request is in there, whether it's approved or not, if you have questions, reach out to Sandra and she will be happy to help.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at our update on the website. I tell you, we are so excited that we were able to launch a brand new website in 2024. And what I want to do is kind of talk about those new features that have been provided within this new platform on the website. So first and foremost, it's cleaner. It allows for you to be able to flow through the menu bars and everything much easier. It's a much easier navigation platform that we have put in place with this website. We've also put, of course, the new online form for room reservations, as we just spoke about. We also have a new tutorial section with instructional videos and documents. So it allows you to continually stay in the know, but with a video tutorial. So that's really wonderful. We also have simplified governing documents and resources folders on there now. So again, it's a lot more accessible and user-friendly to be able to locate the document you might be looking for. And then we have the new contact us form for common requests that you're able to do through the website. So again, we highly encourage you to use the website as your resource for being able to stay connected to get the things that you need. And then within that, we also have this at the bottom where we say on this presentation, we want you to be sure to register for the resident directory. That's very important. And we have it shown right there where you can see it right next to the login on the website itself. So we can make sure that your information is added to it. Kelly, did you have anything else you wanted us to make sure we said regarding
I
registering
just
for the
want to, I
directory?
want to touch base on the directory. So just to clarify, this is an entirely new website. This is not a revamp of the old website. So if you were in the previous resident directory, your information was not automatically carried over. So it's brand new. So you do have to make sure you've registered. Now we've had, literally hundreds, maybe even thousands of residents at this point registered for the new directory. So if you've already done that, you don't need to do it again. We're not saying go register again, but we are saying if you have not registered since the new website launched last summer and you want to be in that resident directory, you do need to go in and register. So you just click that link, literally fill in your name, address, what phone number you want to be in the directory, what email address you want to be there, submit the information, and we will get that uploaded for you. So it's super simple. Most of the website does not require a login anymore. We try to do away with as many login pages as we can. Of course, some information is still private and we need to keep it, locked down and behind a login. But we open up as much as the website as we can, but it is extra important if you want to be in that directory and if you want to see other residents in the directory, you do have to log in. So that section is locked down. You can't just go in and view someone's information. So your information is secured. Only other residents can see it, but only if you go in and register. So please make sure you do that.
All right. Thank you, Kelly.
Yep.
Kelly, I might add, you may be in that directory, but your phone and email address may not be. So please double check to be sure your listing is complete.
Good point.
Thank you so much, Kathy. All right, our communication stats. So this has to do with what we do within our social media and e-newsletters that go out. So what we've done is we've done a nice little breakdown to show the great job and how we've been able to stay connected and how residents are able to interact within what we provide within the newsletter. So for our social media, that would be our Facebook. We have increased our Facebook following from 877 from the previous year, which was 2023, it was 837. The Facebook community page likes for last year was 659, as well as for in 2023, we can see that contrast where it was 647. Now, where we really saw a huge increase was the Facebook reactions, comments, and shares. That's where you're in there having fun, connecting on the posts that you see there. We got all the way up to 2,700 versus in 2023, we had 1,463. So that is absolutely amazing. That's over 1,000 more reactions and comments and shares there. So that's great. Now, as in regards to the e-newsletter, the breeze that we have that goes on out, I'm sorry, the breeze of what we have for the Sweetgrass Breeze, we have a total recipients list here. And this is going to be very important because this allows you to know how many people are actually receiving this publication for us. So what we want to do is give you that final number here. Our total recipients for 2024 was 2,224. Our open rate on that newsletter is 70%. That is absolutely wonderful. We've seen in some other communities, I've worked with other communities before, where sometimes your open rate may come in around 50% and you're looking good. So the fact that y'all are coming in at 70%, I give you high fives and kudos on that. As well as you have a great click rate where people are actually interacting with certain posts on there, which is 7%. I've seen some of those click rates be as low as 3.5 in particular communities. So you may look at that and say 7% is not a lot. That is actually very, very, very good. So again, thank you for making sure that you're interacting with our social media posts as well as our e-newsletter publishings that are going out, because definitely without a shadow of a doubt, this is an above average open rate. So you should be only proud of this. Now, as in regards to our social media and where you can stay connected with us online, as was said before, we do have two channels for that. That would be Facebook, as well as we do have our YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to either one of those platforms, please make sure you go ahead and do so, because we would love for you to be able to stay connected. And here's one thing that you can know. We will have this presentation available for you to see in its slideshow format, and it will have this link there. So if you have any problems remembering what the link might be to get connected to these online platforms, they'll be there on the presentation for you to be able to view.
They're also on our website homepage.
Yes, they certainly are. So now you have two of those aspects to be able to get that connection. All right, so we are on to another prize session here. And so with our spin the wheel, we are going to have a wine chiller. And I tell you, when you have wine, you do chill. I tell you that much. And so we are thankful that we have, as the donated sponsor for this, Porter Law Firm. So let me go ahead and get our next spin going here and see who is going to have some time with some wine. All right, so congratulations to the individuals that live at 422 Spindrift Circle. So we're going to go ahead and get on back into our presentation and keep this going. So now we're going to go into a year in review where we are going to take a look at our 2024 year in programming. All right. So thank you and cheers to another great year of program. All right. So with that said, it is almost dinner time. So this might be right on time with another spin the wheel for the Texas Roadhouse gift cards of $75. And that is donated again by CCMC. So let's go ahead and spin our wheel. All right, congratulations to those who live at 2927 Coneflower Drive. Make sure you come on by and get that because it is dinner time. All right, and so on this particular slide here, we are showing what we have for our full entire year of 2025. This is our full 2025 event calendar. This will be able to be seen within our e-newsletter that's going out this Friday. We'll make sure to go ahead and get this on published out. Now, as you're looking at the particular dates of events that we have taking place here, they culminate a bunch of different types of engagements that you're able to enjoy. We have, of course, our annual cruise that's going to be going on in November, but this also shows the events that are organized by the social committee as well as the association-led events that we have taking place, things like Lake House Live, or we've got one coming up in March that's going to be Buckles, Boots, and Beers, and things like that. Really good times coming our way. Now, one thing I would like to say within anything that you see here, the lifestyle events and activities are subject to change and to be canceled. And so if that does happen, of course, we will do our due diligence of informing anyone or letting everyone within the community know that a change has been made to one of these events. But we wanted to ensure that you knew that we've got these events going and they're going to go ahead and keep on coming to make sure that our year is a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and do this and we will continue on with our presentation portion. So we've just got a few of our highlights for the 2025 season, of course, and I'm going to have her slide a little bit over here in the screen. There we go. I want to make sure that we are able to welcome our new lifestyle director. I do want her to say hello to everyone. She just had her face there. We want to make sure she says hello. She will be looking to connect with you on that pop-up event. One of the new events that we do have that's going to be taking place this year is going to be the Fireside Friday. We're also looking at a possibility of some type of car and craft show. And then we also have a shredding event. So if you've got things that need to be shredded and no longer exist in your home, you're going to want to come to this event to ensure that you get all that stuff out of your home and everything. So I think I might have to fly back here from Dallas because I've got some at my home as well. So don't feel bad if you do just like me. So that will definitely work. And then we also have the return of some of our fan favorite events. So we have our Lake House Live. We have our Mix and Mingles that you know everyone loves and enjoys those. We also have our mobile munchies that are going to be coming in here to satisfy your tummies. And then we have our karaoke nights, pool parties, dog events. And as I said earlier, we have our Boots, Buckles, and Beers. And then, oh boy, I think I might have to come again because you have Oktoberfest. That's the beer is the place. So definitely, we have a lot of wonderful things that are going to be taking place in 2025. So continue to be out on the lookout for that. We also have some really great things happening from our 2024 with the wellness. So we have our Feel Good Friday. We have our Intro to Fitness, which is fitness equipment for 411 or 411, I'm sorry. We also have our partnerships with local health experts, which is wonderful and a great resource for our residents. We have outdoor recreation and wellness activities, active aging workshops. We have health screening events, community wellness challenges, educational health lectures and presentations, fitness classes, annual poker walks, and even more. So there's a lot of fitness. The fitness helps keep us going, and we look forward to seeing how you're going to look to activate even greater fitness and wellness within 2025. All right, and then we also want to make sure that we take the time to send a special thanks to the Sweetgrass Photo Club for contributing photos to today's slideshow and all year long. We greatly appreciate all of the work, creativity, and effort that you put into capturing the moments that allow for Sweetgrass to be a community that stands out amongst the rest. Now, this is where the proof is in the pudding of how incredible this community is. We have a lot of partners and sponsors that we must take the time to acknowledge and say thank you for contributing to our wonderful year of engagement and activities. We have Roberts Wealth Management, we have Cruise Planners, Earth Care Management, Lucas Wealth and Retirement, Memorial Herman Sugarland, Nova Mobile Audiology, I'm sorry, Ochoa Roofing, Trahan Insurance, NB Elite Realty, Jonathan F. Powell, DDS, Alliance Association Bank, CertaPro Painters, Clayton Oaks Living, Elegant Dental, HEB, Gillen Pest Control, Legacy Community Health, Gilman Nissan, Pam Rehabilitation Hospital of Sugarland, Fort Bend Health Care Center, Home Instead Senior Care, Porter Law Firm, Dwell Pro, and Western and Southern Life.
If anyone has any questions on today's annual meeting presentation, please feel free to send them to sweetgrasstx@ccmcnet.com. We will make sure that we get those questions answered for you as soon as possible. And then don't forget, as the year is moving along, if you have other questions, we have the contact us portion of the My Sweetgrass website where you can kind of identify what kind of question it is you have. It'll go straight to that team member and they will get back to you on whatever other question you might have as we move into the year. So.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody who watched this presentation. I thought it was fantastic and a lot of information, and it can be reviewed again on our website. And with that, and a thank you again to everybody, the meeting is adjourned.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.